Oh my goodness, y'all. Milk, eggs, gas prices, housing costs. I mean, I could go on and on. Interest rates, inflation rates are just skyrocketing and all around. And there are talks of recessions being thrown around, which can cause some studio owners to get a little concerned, right? So, on today's show, I am going to share with you 5 specific things you can do to recession proof your business and make sure that you are set up for success as we all move through the unknown. So, if you're joining me, say, hey, Erin, what's up? Let me know that you're here. I want to know who is with me here today as we talk about this topic that might feel a little, not so great. Um, but what I want to tell you before we actually dive into this whole idea here is that if you guys look at history, and how many actual recessions there have been, like since 1945 to 2022, there's only been 13 economic recessions, which is like one about every 6 years. And it's just a downturn. It doesn't mean it has to be, the Great Depression that we're talking about when it comes to recessions. So if you stumbled upon us somehow, I'm Erin Bird, and I am your hostess with the mostest here every Wednesday. I support dance studio owners and educators just like you to really grow your businesses without the overwhelm, the stress, the sacrificing of personal life. We look at how do we take and get more students, scale your business, become more profitable, all to really give you the life of your dreams. So, if you're new here, say hello. I would love to know who is here with me. And if you'd like a copy of today's show notes, drop the word show notes below, and we will absolutely get those to you as soon as they are done. So, are we ready to dive into this idea of recession proofing your business? Now, I love to know in the comments, let me know. Does a recession looming, does it kind of worry you a little bit? Maybe? I need to know. Because here's the thing. There are two modes of approaching a recession. People will either start to retreat and try to conserve what they have, or there's the idea of knowing, if we look back in history, that there are silver linings to a downturn. And the silver linings could absolutely be where lots of money is made. There is lots of opportunity out there. If we look at history, some of the world's most wealthy people happened because of an economic downturn, because there are always opportunities when there are economic downturns. So we have to decide which camp we want to fall under. So today we're going to dive into those 5 things that you could do to recession proof your business, and how we can really not only just brace ourselves for the storm, but how we are going to not weather the storm and come out ahead. So let's go ahead, my friends, and dive right in today without further ado, because everybody is super busy. So, the first thing we need to do, my friends, is when there is a recession looming, possibly, we need to audit our current financials. Now, this is talking about really taking care of our cash flow. So, this is where maybe a soapbox is going to come out today, but we need to take care of our cash flow, which means we need to get on top of our accounts receivable. If you have people who owe you money, you need to take care of that now. That has to be a top priority, is for you collecting any outstanding debts that people owe you. So we need to preserve our cash flow. We need to make sure that not only what we have, we need to keep stuff coming in, but we need to make sure that right now, before things get bad if they do, we tidy up our accounts receivable. So, my friends, I am imploring you, please, please, please make accounts receivable your priority. I know a lot of times it's not fun. It feels not great. It feels icky because it's like, affecting children. But the truth of the matter is that you need to make sure that you can weather the storm. And why not get all of those accounts receivable taken care of, be able to add additional money into your savings account? It's important right now. The other thing is, when I say audit your financials, I mean a full review. And a full review is going to help you really know. Um, Thank you. Oh my gosh. Getting paid is too important to let icky feelings get in the way. Yes. Right? We cannot let icky feelings get in the way. We need to base our decisions right now on facts versus feelings, and having a current audit of your financials is key to recession proofing your business. So, when it comes to auditing your financials, I am talking about, yes, accounts receivable, get those cleaned up right away. I am sorry, you don't get your costume if your bill isn't paid. I'm sorry, you don't get to go and perform in this competition if you don't pay. I'm sorry, you don't get to do recital if you don't pay. Period. The end. That is it. What you allow will continue. So we could have a whole conversation about that. But number one, accounts receivable. Number two, looking at your cash flow. What does that look like? What is your current debt to revenue ratio? What is your current profit margin? Like, there's some things that we need to look at. And if you don't know them, it's totally normal, but we have to be committed to having the support to figuring them out. We're here for you. Your bookkeeper, accountant, those sort of people are there for you to help you and support you. You just need to tell them you need help, right? So reach out for support if you don't know what that looks like. The other thing that we need to look at is, when I mentioned real quick, like, what is your debt to revenue ratio, right? And this is where we also need to take a look at being smart about debt. Now, I know that we all, and believe me, I have strong feelings about debt, but not all debt is bad. And you will see that there are lots of Fortune 500 companies who will take out debt, who will take out a line of capital right now to have as a reserve in the event that they need it during an economic downturn. So, if the pandemic taught us anything, we need to have capital available at our discretion for those economic downturns. So, be smart about debt. I'm not saying go out and get $1 million worth of credit and capital right now. That is not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, if we look at our financials, we already know that our industry typically has ebbs and flows and cycles when it comes to cash flow. And so be smart about debt. If you are looking at things and you think, I might need a line of capital, right now is the time to look at securing that versus waiting till the actual um, recession is in full effect, because you will have a harder time securing capital. So, my friends, be smart about debt. Not all debt is bad. There is debt that we invest in that, if it can help us have a quick return on investment, and not only pay off, but actually make us more money, not all debt is bad. So look at your financials. The other thing is, where could we save some money, right? So having those conversations with suppliers, vendors, are we wasting money every single month on a subscription, let's say, that we are not actually utilizing? Can we get rid of that? Or do we need to start utilizing it? Right? Looking at those sort of things. If you, just because we've had the same phone carrier for the last 15 years does not mean that financially it makes the most sense. So right now is the time to look at those sort of things. Do we need to move from one carrier to another? Do we need to look at renegotiating our um, internet service? Do we need to look at those sort of things? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. I sing that to my kids every morning to get them out of bed. And you guys, sometimes the eye rolls, I could feel them through the dark. Okay. Anyway, good morning. So, how are we going through and being smart about our finances, and where can we renegotiate things or get rid of things that are not making sense? Um, I talked to a few studio owners this last week, and I've had some conversation about, Aaron, I subscribe to XYZ subscription, or I'm in this membership, but I'm not really getting a lot of value from it, those sort of things. And we're having those conversations because it's important right now. And if you aren't seeing the value in them, then we need to cut them. Now, I do have an honest and candid conversation about this sort of things with my clients, as far as, well, are they not of value because you're actually not utilizing them, or are they not of value because the content isn't there? So we have to really be objective about it in how we're utilizing something and if we should utilize it. Okay, so, but a full financial review, I think, is number one as we are looking at what may be coming in the future. Now, nobody knows for sure. I don't have a crystal ball to say if we're actually going to go into a full recession. But what I can tell you is that it's smart for us, no matter what, to look at these sort of things and to take time to put some things in place. All right. So that's number one. The second thing that I'm going to tell you that we need to do to recession proof our business is something that might seem counterintuitive, right? So we talked about it a little bit a minute ago, is like, hey, we need to save where we can save, but we also need to spend smart, right? And one of the things that I say that you should absolutely do during a recession is leverage your marketing. A recession is not a time to pull back on your marketing budget. It is not, right? Um, a recession, or leading into a recession, is the time for us to get savvy and to really leverage our marketing. Now, that does not mean that we're just throwing a bunch of money at marketing that we don't know if it's going to work for us or not. We need to be smart. We need to have a full and robust marketing plan, and that includes organic and paid marketing. But we need to go in all in marketing. And we also need to look at our marketing from a different lens. What do I mean by that? So, people buy differently during a recession. Not everyone. There's a percentage of our people, our community, who don't change anything during a recession because it doesn't affect them, right? But there are going to be some people, some of our audience, that their buying decisions will change during a recession. And so we need to take a moment and look really deeply at our marketing plan and what are going to influence people's buying decisions, and why should they see the value in paying for something that is a non-essential, right? Because during a recession, people are looking at what are our essentials: food, housing, um, heat, electricity, right? Those sort of things. Those are essentials. During your water heater breaks, a plumber is essential, right? Or going and buying a new water heater if you know how to do it is right. But you still have to pay for it because it's an essential. You need hot water, right? So dance may not be considered an essential to everyone. So this is where we have to look at our marketing and our positioning. And now, I don't believe in um, keeping up with the Joneses when it comes to our competitors. So I want to preface this statement. But right now is the time to see what makes you the unicorn in your community when it comes to dance studios. So, yes, we do need to know what our competitors are doing and what makes you different. So many times I have studio owners who come to me and they're like, Erin, I don't understand because we're so like our studio's like a second home to people. And I'm like, okay, great. But guess what? That's what the other studios are saying too. Because they probably are to those people. They are like a second home to those people. So that doesn't make you any different. What makes you a unicorn? And why do they want to buy from you when they could spend their money elsewhere? So we have to have a really strong marketing plan and leverage marketing. And like I said, right now is not the time to pull back and say, oh my gosh, I'm not doing any paid social media marketing or any paid marketing at all. I actually think it's quite the opposite. And this is the time where we might want to allocate and continue on with our marketing. Okay. But this isn't throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping to see what sticks. You need to actually have a great plan in place. All right, so that's number two. The third thing, which again might seem like horrors, Erin, but you'd be surprised. We need to prioritize customer service, the customer experience. We need to go all in on human connection. We need to worry about retention, and we need to worry about how retention is going to equate to also increased enrollment. So during a recession, focusing on and prioritizing the customer experience is paramount. And so many times, my friends, I see where studio owners get caught up in all the things that are happening right now, this time of year. Um, I mean, my goodness, like I might go on a whole topic about reevaluating how we do things here in the US. But so much is happening right now, right? You have costumes, competition season, recital prep, summer camps for selling, preparing for fall. Like it all is this push right now. Um, and what happens is we get in this, oh, I gotta get my to-do list done. And not that your customers aren't getting information, because I am sure all of you are sending out lots of information right now about different things happening. But do those customers feel supported? Do they feel nurtured? Do they feel warm and welcomed? And not like, you're in a crazy place, that you're scatterbrained, that you have so much going on that you can't take the time to have conversations with people. How are you and your staff showing up right now? And I will say this as well. Um, Mindset matters. Who you surround yourself with matters. And while competitions and parents and costumes and all of that can be super frustrating, they can, because there's things that are out of sight of your control. So that part's hard. But what I have to tell you right now is that if we allow to have negativity creep inside of our studio when it comes to things that we are um, so lucky and privileged to have, it really can affect the whole tone of the studio, right? So if you come back complaining about the competition you just went to, that has a trickle effect on the whole cloud that you're putting on your studio. If you are complaining about parents not reading their emails to your staff, that has an effect. If your staff comes in complaining about XYZ, it has an effect. There's a whole tone, and maybe it might not be directly said, but y'all, you know it. You can feel a whole vibe when you walk into a studio. And it's based upon how our mindsets are inside of our studio, our staff, our students, us as leaders, which, I could talk about more. But we need to prioritize customer service and the whole experience. And we need to think about putting ourselves in our parents' shoes and our students' shoes and removing the idea of dance. So, what do I mean by that? As a customer who takes my child, right, to karate lessons, right? What would I love for my experience to be as a parent? And think about it in that way. Sometimes we let this whole idea of, well, this is just how it is in the dance industry, or this is how it was when I was growing up in the studio that I went to, or XYZ. We have these preconceived notions about dance, and the truth is that, and then when we step outside of the dance world and we go to maybe something where we don't feel like we have the expertise or the knowledge, right? And so we take our child to karate, to swimming, to whatever. What is the experience that we want? Now we might have a little more compassion for for the business owners because we're business owners, but we still want to know, like, we still want to have a great experience. And so we need to think about that. And prioritizing customer service is key during recession. Okay. Oh my gosh. Such a good comment. Y'all, yes, the vibe is contagious, even if it's never spoken aloud. It 100% is. And so we have to make sure that we prioritize customer service and customer experience and have those conversations. They are more important. Taking care of our customers, taking care of our clients is more important than any silly little, extra thing, like, that really doesn't matter. That's not going to change our revenue generating activities, right? So customer service. And that is not just from us as studio owners, that is from the whole staff, from your studio concierge, from having your teachers and your staff. Maybe it's your programming director. I don't care who it is. We need everybody on board to make sure that our customer service experience is top notch and that we are on top of that, taking care of people, because people are what matter. We are in the people business and the dance business second. Please remind yourself of that. We are in the people business first. So, customer service, customer experience is key. All right. So, the next thing, number 4, that we are going to talk about real quick is something that, again, we have to be smart about, but diversifying your revenue streams. Now, I am not talking about starting new programming just for the sake of starting 10 new programs because you're like grasping at straws trying to figure out what is going to work right now. That is not what I am talking about. Diversifying your revenue streams. So, again, I kind of go back because the pandemic is the most recent thing that we've all had to experience. But what I will tell you is this, that it is smart for us, like I told you at the top of the show, to look at, there is a lot of silver linings and opportunity out there if we actually look back onto history and look at what is approaching. So look at, how can I diversify my revenue streams? So if one thing goes down, let's say birthday parties. Like you have a birthday party program and it's really great and it typically rents out your studio every single weekend. You're booked out and it's great. But that might not be what's going to be the top, you might see a decline in birthday parties during a recession, right? So, what can we do to diversify our revenue streams to um, support not only our business but ourselves, right? So, you know, we have to be smart. We have to look at things. But one of the things that I've been getting a lot of questions about is the fact that we actually have launched a new nonprofit, newish. The truth is, I was just talking to Paula, and in June it'll be 1 year, which is kind of crazy that we have. It's almost been a year, but one of the things that we did was we launched our nonprofit because here's the thing. There's lots of reasons that I could go into. We all know that we believe here that dance and the arts should be for everyone, not only for the top upper class, people who have money. It shouldn't be for only the affluent, right? I believe that wholeheartedly. I am sure that you believe it too, because if you're here with me, we believe that, right? But what I have to tell you is that even though I believe that arts education should be for everyone, it should not come at the detriment of my family, right? So, one of the things that we decided to do was we could create more impact, we can serve more of our community if we also started this nonprofit. Because a nonprofit does not mean that you don't make any money as the program director, executive director, as the, artistic director, whatever, for the nonprofit. You can draw a salary. That is allowed, right? Yes, money has to go to programming, but my friends, starting this nonprofit has allowed us to secure some grant funding that was not available to us in the past as a for-profit business. And it's allowing us to increase our impact. It's allowing me to hire actually and retain staff that we, may or not been able to keep during a recession, if a recession happens. And during a recession, there is also government funding, my friends. And this is a way for us to look at if our for-profit side sees a little bit of a decline, we have opportunities through grant funding, through private donors, through fundraising. Like there are opportunities if we get in now that will set us up for in the event that there is a recession, and also allowed us to do more good in the world and in our community. So I call that a win-win, right? And we are seeing here that people are still giving, that in the times of recession, people actually do start to value the arts, and they see where that can be an outlet for people. And so the nonprofit side of it has allowed us to really tap into that and the stories and the feel good, and people want that during this time. So people are willing to join in and to help. So, my friends, I'm going to tell you right now that while for profits, yes, I love a good for profit. Nonprofits can actually be a really great way for you to make a bigger impact, diversify your revenue streams, and you can have both a for profit and a nonprofit at the same time. It is allowed. But you do have to know what's what and keep things very separate, right? So we want to make sure that we're doing that. But my friends, nonprofits are a great way. And I've been getting so many questions about, since we announced that, I've been sharing with our community here that we have our nonprofit and how it's been going for us and the grants that we've been able to secure. in the last 9 months are, you know, kind of mind blowing in a way, because that wasn't ever a world that I was necessarily in. But it's there. The money is available. It is there for us to do good and make an impact without sacrificing our personal finances, those sort of things. So, my friends, since we've been getting so many questions about it, we are going to be holding, um, as part of our Empire Builders Club, we are going to be holding a whole masterclass on nonprofits that profit and how you can utilize them in your studio on March 31st. So not this Friday, but next Friday. That is our masterclass for our Empire Builders Club. And my friends, if you've ever thought about a nonprofit, how that can work for you, how you can actually make money from a nonprofit, because a nonprofit, you guys, real quick, a nonprofit doesn't mean that you don't make any money. A nonprofit means we need to allocate our funds and not have a profit at the end, right? Essentially. Doesn't mean you can't have a savings account for the nonprofit. Doesn't mean you can't give bonuses. Doesn't mean you can't have salaried employees. Doesn't mean any of that. A nonprofit is still a business. It's just reporting and how do we allocate and what are we doing with our funds. So, you guys, we are going to have, myself and Samara are going to, Samara actually helped us with all the paperwork and all that stuff for our nonprofit. So we are going to be doing our masterclass on the 31st on nonprofits. How do we utilize them in our studios to have another branch, have another revenue stream, be able to do more good, that sort of thing. So my friends, if you are not part of the Empire Builders Club, hello, what are y'all waiting for? Every single month we do a masterclass. If you jump into the Empire Builders Club, like in the next 72 hours, I'm going to give you a thing. You can also join us for our quarterly planning session that is happening on Monday, my friends. So, part of the Empire Builders Club, we do a monthly masterclass. We once a month we do an additional live Q&A where you can come and ask me and the team anything. Anything. Nothing's off limits really, and we will answer your questions when it comes to building, adding students, growing your business, creating the studio of your dreams, the business of your dreams. So we have the live masterclass, you've got the live Q&As every single month, and we do quarterly planning sessions where we are going to map out the second quarter for you guys. So yes, Samara is the person for nonprofits. She is on our team. We are so lucky to have her. And so her and I are going to be diving into this nitty gritty on nonprofits. And so if it's something you've been thinking about, this is absolutely, you should be there, right? And my goodness, y'all, the Empire Builders Club, it is only $77 a month. And the nuggets and the value that you get is absolutely hands down. You will get more support, I think, from us than most of those other little programs that you get. So, my friends, I can't say enough. We have a really great group in our Empire Builders Club of studio owners who are growing, who are so supportive and together. So, I'm not going to keep going about that, but I want you to know that if you thought about a nonprofit, y'all, you need to be with us on the 31st. You need to join the Empire Builders Club and check us out, see what it's all about, and get the information that you need to see if this is the right venue for your additional revenue stream. All right, my friends, are you ready for number 5? Because I know, like, there is a fifth one, and we actually did start touching on it briefly, but I want to really anchor it in right now. Okay, I want to anchor in this idea. Leadership is key. Leadership is key. How we lead our team, how we lead our people and our students is key to our success. How are you showing up? If you are showing up with your energy, right? you're overwhelmed, you're burned out, you're stressed out, you're whatever energy, if you're letting your staff just do whatever they want because you're so overwhelmed, if you are, you know, if all of those sort of things are just, ooh, right? Um, then my friends, it is the vibe. And your staff will not feel secure in their position, right? We want to, the key to student retention is staff retention. It is. Like, we track the data. And if you are not leading your team well, you will not retain your staff nor your students during a recession. It is a sad, sad truth, right? Yes, happy staff create happy dancers. 1000%. Yes, right? So, my friends, leadership is absolutely key to recession proofing your business. Good leadership, showing up, not asking your staff to do anything you wouldn't do. I believe in that wholeheartedly. I would never ask one of my staff members, whether they're a teacher, an admin person, uh, you know, whatever their position is, to do something that I would not do myself or have not done myself or will not jump in and do. Now, that doesn't mean that it is my job to do all those things, but I lead by example. My staff know it. Leadership is key. And so, my friends, I will tell you this much. If you are thinking or you're concerned about a recession, I would get on top of your leadership. I would show up maybe a little bit more. Now, if you're already spending lots of time in your studio, I'm not saying you need to spend 60 hours a week in your studio, 50 hours a week, whatever. My point is, though, um, your staff need to know that you're there, that you're leading them. Your students need to see your face, because connection is key. Connection is key during times of recession, and leadership is key. Okay, so my friends, I want to leave you with something. I want to tell you this. Okay, I'm going to hide this real quick. So, what I want to say right now is this, and please lean in and hear me. We don't need to live in the Chicken Little world, the sky is falling, right? We don't know if there will truthfully be a recession. We don't know that for sure, right? All we know is that we can become committed to creating best business practices, which are all these things that actually we were talking about today, right? And so if we recap them real quick, okay, right? Like if we go through and recap the 5 things to recession proof your business, these are at heart some business basics, right? We need to always be on top of and auditing our current financials. We need to be smart about our cash flow. We need to be smart about debt. We need to get our AR in control, right? Our accounts receivable, it has to be in control. This is a business basic, a system we can get in place now that will help us have strong business moving forward, right? We should always be looking at marketing, our plan. How do we leverage it to its fullest? It is not a time to back away. It is a time to really go full force and see what makes us the unicorn and how do we use that in our messaging. We need to prioritize customer service and the experience. These are principles, my friends. Don't shy away from it because you feel like parents are such a headache. Quite the opposite. We need to love on our families. The parents, the students, our staff, we need to wrap our arms around our community. We need to think about prioritizing that customer service and, my friends, diversifying your revenue streams. But also thinking about, what do I do really, really well, and max it out, my friends. Focus on that. Okay? And then, my friends, leadership is key. Leadership is key because as the leader, we are steering the ship that is heading us into, if we think about it, it could be an economic storm, right? So, as leaders, we are the ones manning the wheel. We're at the helm. How do we show up as leaders to our staff, to our families, and tell them that it's going to be okay because we're all in this together? Okay? So, if we focus on those 5 things inside our business, we can help not just brace ourselves and like duck our head and hope that we come out for the best. No, we are hands on deck, hands on the wheel, bracing us, navigating us through the economic storm, and coming out on the other side of this beautiful oasis, this paradise, right? Because we've looked at the silver linings and what is it that we can do right now to make a difference. And in the event that something happens, we are prepared. Preparation is the key to success, my friends. We have to be proactively planning. So, my friends, if you are worried about recession, if you're not quite sure because you haven't completely bounced back from the pandemic and all of that, and you need some support, my friends, reach out. I would love to do a free studio success strategy session with you. It's 100% complimentary. We will talk through, we will look at what's happening for you, where are some gaps, how can we fix them, what are our big goals, and here's a plan for you, right? I am more than happy to do that for you. But my friends, if you're trying to do this on your own and you're feeling overwhelmed and you don't know where to go, now is the time to get support. Because I have to tell you, it made me really, really sad. I was reading a statistic because my daughter she always pretends like she's pushing up classes, and she's like, actually, mom, because I always tell her things. I don't know if I'm overshadowing right now, but anyway, I love to look at like studies and data and that sort of things because I love data-driven decisions, right? And I was reading a study about the economic, downturn. They actually called it the pandemic recession of 2020. Um, it wasn't a full recession, but it was a slow downturn. But the Federal Reserve estimated that there was almost like 200,000 U.S. establishments, businesses that permanently closed because they weren't prepared to weather the storm. And that really hurts my heart. And I don't want that for any studio owners. I want you to be able to brace yourself and have a plan in place going forward that makes you feel like you have such a strong foundation in your business that, even if the roof were to come off, right, that you still have a foundation in place and that we can rebuild and fix that roof, so to speak. So, my friends, I hope that these 5 tips were helpful for you. If you want more information, if you want to chat, if you want to have that conversation, the time is now, my friends. I know it feels like, oh, I don't have time to put another thing on my list, but you can't really afford to not pay attention to it right now. You just can't. Because you get to decide which camp you want to be in. Do you want to be in the camp that ducks and covers your head? Or do you want to be in the camp that's like, nope, I'm being proactive and I'm taking the helm now? You get to decide which one you want to be. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you loved all the little nuggets. I hope that I will see you all next week for another episode of the Aaron Bird Live Show where we dive into business mindset, strategies, tips, and tricks to really allow you to create the business of your dreams. So, until next week, my friends, I hope that you have a fabulous week, that you are going to bed every night with a grateful heart, and that you see the joy every single day because we are so lucky to do what we get to do. So, I am going to leave you there. I hope that you have a fantastic day, my friends, and I will see you all next week on another episode of the Aaron Bird Live Show. Bye, my friends.